Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to Casting the Net. This is the official podcast of the Northeast Texas Public Health District, where we strive to untangle the wide net that public health casts across our communities. Net Health has many different departments. We provide basic public health services primarily in Smith County, but our name is the Northeast Texas Public Health District. So our guest today is the director of our WIC department, which will be explained in detail in this session. But our WIC department in Net Health covers we have clinics in 20 different East Texas cities, but you'll have clients that come from even other counties outside of those 20 counties. WIC is one of the main reasons why our company name is the Northeast Texas Public Health District, because we are striving to improve the health statistics and health outcomes for optimal health for all of Northeast Texas.
Yes.
We may not have a physical clinic or office physically in your city or in your county, but in one way, shape, form, or another, Net Health is having an impact in your local community.
Yes.
So I challenge any other future podcast host, conference session, community presentation to do an introduction of that magnitude for Mrs. Tecora Smith. Thanks for being here, Tecora.
Welcome to Casting the Net, Tecora.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me.
So, as a start, could you describe your journey from when you started as an employee to becoming director of the Net Health WIC department? Okay. How did that? Was there any plan to that, or did it just happen over time?
No, actually, I was a WIC mom in Nacogdoches. And
so that was the start.
That was the start. Just going into the office as a WIC mom, wanting to learn, could I actually get a job in this field of public health nutrition? And I had such a good experience. The ladies were kind to me the moment I walked in. They linked me to resources like enrolling me in SNAP because I had a food insecurity and we had no insurance. So they enrolled me in Medicaid at the time. And I just felt like I would love to be part of a program that not only does the education and make moms feel heard and understood, but also see a need outside of food and meet the basic need that everyone should have, food, housing, and insurance, so I could actually go to my prenatal appointments and that my children could go to the doctor once I delivered them. So I knew I got the WIC bug. It just captured my heart, and I just wanted to give back, pay it forward. And so I changed my degree from nursing to nutrition and dietetics. I just went to my my counselor and said, hey, can I get a job in this field? What would it take to change my major? She's like, are you positive? I'm positive because I want to work in this program. So I asked the nutritionist, what do you do and could I get a job doing this? And she was like, absolutely. And then as I was changing my courses, going to like my cultural and community nutrition courses, I asked my professor, hey, so what kind of jobs are in nutrition? She was like, if you really love WIC, you could be a WIC director. And I was like, oh, okay. So I knew I wanted to be a WIC director once I finished my community nutrition program that talked about Head Start and WIC and all type of public health programs. And so that's really where my journey began. I just need to graduate and get my degree so that I could be employable. And so After that, I was looking for employment, and Net Health had a position open at our Jacksonville WIC clinic. And so I applied to be a nutritionist, and it was great. Now, was it what I thought it was going to be? Absolutely not. When you're going in as a WIC participant, you only see what you see. You see, oh, this is moving fast. I didn't realize the education behind, having to go through the routine of modules, them teaching me the nutritional aspects of the individuals we were serving. So I had to learn about pregnant moms and breastfeeding, postpartum, children and infants, nutritional needs, and how to counsel. They taught me how to counsel and how to assess the needs and give referrals. Remember, I was the one receiving.
Right.
This now was learning how to offer this service. Right. So it was a lot to learn. I just thought I was going to go. I just like, I'm going to be the best nutritionist. I'm going to talk to moms. Oh, no. You're entering data in the computer. You're trying to make appointments. You're trying to build rapport and connect with mom. You're handling all type of clinic issues with scheduling. It was just more than I thought it was. But once I got the hang of things, I knew that was my purpose. I was supposed to be there to help other moms feel safe.
So as a client, you were enjoying the meal at the restaurant. Then when you became an employee, you were making the meals.
I was making the meal.
You learned the recipes.
Yeah, it was really hard.
So I want to go back to when you mentioned your entry point when you were a client. Did you know that you wanted to become a nutritionist and become a WIC employee before you became a client, or did you want to work for WIC because of your experience as a client?
Only my experience as a client. I'm going to be honest with you.
So it was those moments, the interaction, the customer service, the quality that you received from those employees when you were a client. The program sold itself to you, essentially.
Made a huge impression.
And you've seen, in your tenure with Net Health, that this is actually a reoccurring theme because we do hire a lot of moms that use our services, do we not?
Yes, we do. Yeah. A lot of them apply to either be our nutrition assistants that screen them for eligibility. They do their height and weights and look at their anthropometrics and their labs. We do test and screen for iron deficiency, anemia. So they do a little bit of that. Some do our health history, just to assess, like, where are they? Where's the need? And in others, they come on our program because they've breastfed their infants and they become breastfeeding peer counselors and they mentor other mothers because that is like a huge need to have that social support, someone to listen to, because some of our moms come with no family,
right?
No support. So WIC does try to create that peer education and support system so if they have no one else, they know they have WIC. And a lot of times people will call us and we're like, oh, we're not social workers, we're not physicians, but they know if they can get to WIC, we can link them to those resources and services. So they'll call. I remember during the pandemic, moms would come because they were just used to that support and love. They would put their babies like have them at the window or at the door, like, look at him, he's growing. And I'm like, oh, I really want to touch you. But we couldn't touch them or because we didn't want to bring any harm towards mom and the baby. But it's that connection. They want you to celebrate with them as their child is thriving and growing, but celebrate with them as they meet their milestones. You know, they think young people don't have goals and aspirations. They do. They want to be great moms and dads. They just may not have seen it, at an early age. So it's really nice to have those people that are non-judgmental. They just see you for who you are because a peer has experienced what you've experienced. So we've been through that. So we get it, right?
And back to the point, Terrence, that you're making of kind of being being the person consuming the meal versus the one making the meal, being the chef, but the fruits of your labor is actually getting being able to see these moms, go from a place where maybe they're not really flourishing to being like coming through the WIC program and be like, wow, you're a great mom. You're doing so great, and just being able to facilitate that growth. I'm sure that's very rewarding.
It is to see our little 5-year-olds graduate, and we're prepping them for going into kindergarten and how to sit and eat their meals because they're used to kind of walking around grazing because, there's not really a lot of structure unless they go to daycare. Kind of preparing mom for what foods to introduce so that they do have the energy to learn and do well in school. There's a lot, you hear this term a lot that food is medicine, but food provides so much more than just substance. It provides nutrients of energy and, some foods bring joy to some people that we use them for social settings with family. And sometimes food can be a way of bringing people together.
Sure.
So teaching them how to have healthy relationships with food, but also food can be healing to the body, especially with different health diseases. And so it's nice to have someone you can talk to, but be honest with you.
Sure.
And give you the why, but then allow you to make that conscious decision, intentional decision for yourself. And that's where that empowerment comes in, trusting them to know what's best for their child, trusting them to know what's best for their health, and giving them the tools to do that. And we do that at WIC. We simply give them the tools. And then the next time they come see us, we just check on them. If we're doing great, we're doing great. If not, we ask, so tell me about those barriers. Yeah. Like, let's see what we can do to kind of get past those. And it may take 3 visits before we're like, yes, we have a win, but it's okay that failure is part of the, that we're not going to be just great in the beginning. It's a process. And so we'll allow that space and just being okay. I think as individuals, we think we should be successful at everything and that it should happen right away, but it's a process to everything, and teaching moms to be okay with that. We may not get that picky eater to eat vegetables until like the 5th visit or the 6th visit, but let's celebrate that we are at least making some strides, and giving them that hope that eventually they'll eat a carrot, but let's figure out how we need to prepare it. Do they like their carrots just raw with, a little dip, fat-free dip, or do they like them cooked? And, do they prefer they're mixed in with some of their food? Some like carrots in their spaghetti. But you have to it's like a journey trying to learn, what works for individuals and what's a good fit. So that's why this profession is just so amazing, because you actually see change. You see impact. And so it's good being able to work in a profession that you actually see, like you were saying, the fruits of your labor, and be able to celebrate with our families. What may come easy to us, a lot of times is a challenge because they may not have a refrigerator or access. They may live in a food desert. So, we have to remember some of those things. So sometimes we do prescribe the food packages that meet the needs. So if they don't have a refrigerator, we do a non-refrigerated food package. Or, but then we go find a resource. How do we get them a refrigerator or someone to donate one? So I can honestly say in this profession, you see the fruits of your labor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the fruits of the spirits is being long-suffering and patient. So like you said, a journey, I don't have any kiddos yet, Lord willing, maybe one day.
I was going to say, was that an intentional pun intended? The fruits of the
Yeah, to be patient and long-suffering, But you had mentioned something so important. We talk about, the programs that Net Health offers, and WIC being one of our major programs. And being able to let people know why these programs are so crucial. You had mentioned barriers.
Yes.
And being able to highlight, I would like for you to maybe go into a little bit of that. Like, why is WIC so important here in East Texas specifically? And why is it so important that we have as many clinics as we do? What are some of the barriers that we see here in East Texas that WIC is addressing, with our programs? I know you had mentioned food insecurities.
Food insecurity.
Food deserts, if you can maybe go into some of those things a little bit.
We also see, transportation. I hate to keep bringing it up, just understanding the bus system, and some of the barriers to riding our bus system. It is a form of transportation, but if you don't know which bus to catch and read the schedule, that creates a barrier to having access to gain resources.
Now to add on to that, if your city has a bus, what the clients that live in a rural area that doesn't have access to a city bus system, then what are their options? It's almost like a trade-off.
Yeah.
But y'all have been able to address that. I didn't mean to cut you off, but the transportation aspect is important to bring up because not everybody in East Texas has access to dedicated, reliable transportation on a daily basis. So that is one of the base level public health barriers that's shared. I can confidently say that's shared in pretty much every county in East Texas. Is how are you able to get around?
Rural areas, that is a huge issue. Some have the GO bus, some don't. So they pay family members. So financially, that becomes a hardship because they're having to pay $10, $20 just to give them a ride, whether it's to the store, to their WIC appointment, to the doctor. It becomes a barrier. I can honestly say one of the other things is housing, safe housing and affordable housing. You're thinking, what does that have to do? But your living conditions does have an effect on your health.
Overall budget, and the financial, the financial stress that may be caused because of how much you're having to pay for housing, how much you're having to pay for transportation, having to pay for food. Like it's
having
like
a stable
you're
home
debating
for a child. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Food costs have
you're
gone
debating
up.
where you're going to direct your money.
Yeah. And some choose food is the last option for directing their money. So that's why it's important we know our resources in our community, like our food pantries, and know when the food bank is doing their food drops and where, so that we can get that information out to families, because that's how they supplement their monthly income and budget. So, I just find it interesting that I just never knew and understood the need until I started working for WIC. And so I viewed hunger to have a certain kind of face. But, all of a sudden hunger has the face of us in this room. It looks, we identify with the face of hunger. And it just doesn't look the same anymore with the growing cost of just being able to go to the store. $100 just does not go very far anymore, where there was a time you could probably pull off some meals, at least, 4 meals from $100. And so just access to resources. So transportation, safe, reliable housing. We do have families that are homeless.
Yeah.
And people don't realize that, but until you start asking questions, that's something to really think about.
Well, statistically, most people are one big financial
life event away.
From being people living paycheck to paycheck. So it's like you said, kind of hunger and homelessness. People have this kind of false conception of what that looks like. It's like most people are pretty close to being homeless. Like there's a lot of people that are pretty close to being right out on the streets, if they don't have support system, safety net, family members they can call. It's like, man, if I don't get my next check, I don't know what I'm going to do,
And then we ask them, be physically active, stay, but they have no walking trails. They have no sidewalks. Is it safe? It depends on where you're choosing to live. So I love that Tyler has the Glass Center and other places, but rural communities, they have to pay a membership, and so I just see Tyler, Smith County being a place where we may not be perfect, but we have way more resources than our smaller rural counties. And it just gets challenging for those in rural counties because one big thing, they're closing their hospitals in our rural counties. So now we have a desert where moms can't even go deliver locally in their town. And so that's where these health disparities and poor birth outcomes and not having those resources, I'm grateful WIC is there to help them guide, just help guide them and provide that breastfeeding and nutrition education. But there are so many other programs that are needed in order to change the course of having poor outcomes in our community, health outcomes in general. So I just it's not just the basic things, just not to have a local hospital. Like if you have an emergency, you'll have to be placed in an ambulance and transported 45 minutes to an hour. That's scary.
Sure.
And so it just gets a little challenging when you don't have physicians. You may only have one that's trying to take care of a whole community. And so the waiting list is long. So you may need care tomorrow, but they don't have a space or an appointment for you. So there's so many barriers in our communities. And living in Tyler, it totally looks different from a rural community like Canton, that they must deliver in Tyler. They don't have,
That's their main option, or some that may be their only option.
They may not have OBs. That's common not to have an OB doctor. So therefore, there we go again. They're rural, so they need reliable transportation. I had a staff person. I needed her to cover another clinic, and she brings her baby to work because we do the Bring the Baby to Work program to support our mom's choice to breastfeed while working. And her car broke down halfway to trying to help another mom, and it's just, she's like, oh, I'm going to try to get it fixed, but I don't have the money to get it fixed. So I'm like, okay, let's try to work through this. So you think it's just the families we're serving, but sometimes it's the people working.
It's ourselves, yeah. You gotta put your own oxygen mask on so you can help somebody else.
Yeah.
So that's reality. That's reality. And so trying to navigate through that, because those are the barriers we see in our community.
So if we can zoom out for a bit of WIC is not just in East Texas. There's Texas WIC. There's a statewide WIC organization, and then there's the national WIC organization. So for everybody listening, you listen to us. If you have questions, you can send us an email that we can forward to Tecora, that she can answer you directly. Our email address is castingthenet@netphd.org. That email address is in the show notes, and we'll repeat again later on in the podcast. So as you're listening to Tecora, as questions, ideas come to your mind, feel free to email us. Let us know what's on your mind, because we're here to serve you, to answer your questions that you may have.
And if we don't have the answer, we'll find it.
We'll get it to you. That's the job of public health. But to expand, there are 20 WIC clinics that are overseen by Net Health that are in East Texas. But how many total clinics, WIC agencies, are there in the state of Texas?
Ooh.
Putting you on the spot, Tecora.
Well, let me rephrase that question for a bit, because I know a little bit of info of there are local agencies.
Yes.
So all 20 WIC clinics overseen by Net Health is one agency within the Texas WIC hierarchy. So of a company, of a business, of an organization that operates a WIC clinic in any part of Texas. Do you have a estimate of how many total WIC agencies there are in
There's
Texas?
about 113 WIC agencies. And like there's this one, she has 100 clinics. So it's hard to really say how many actual clinics are in the state of Texas because state of Texas is we're a big state.
So there may be some agencies that have only one WIC clinic.
They only have
and
one.
And you have some agencies that have
I'm using
100,
the power of the internet. So according to Texas Health and Human Service Commission, they're over 500. So
my goodness.
So we got.
So over 500.
Texas is big.
There,
I was going to say that we have 1% or we have half a percent. We still take up a big chunk of that 500 over 20 compared to one agency that may have just one clinic or they may have two clinics. But even nationally, so this is just me just coming from the blind. Does every state in the U.S. have a WIC agency?
Yes, I traveled to Puerto Rico for vacation, and I was in San Juan, and there was a WIC.
Puerto Rico has?
Yeah.
Well, Puerto Rico is not a state, but I guess they are now.
They're part of us.
Yeah, they're part of the U.S.
Yeah, they're not a state, but they're everywhere.
Okay, so Tecora, I try not to learn more than one thing every day. Mm-hmm. So this is my one new thing that I learned today. Mm-hmm. Puerto Rico has a WIC clinic. I did not know that.
They have a WIC clinic. They're not a state, but they're part of us, and so they have a WIC clinic. We have people on our National WIC Association calls that are from Guam. And, so they're all, WIC is everywhere. Every state has a WIC program.
That's a new catchphrase right now. WIC is everywhere.
WIC is everywhere. For me to travel to Puerto Rico and WIC is like on the streets.
Feels like home.
I was like, I'm going in this clinic. It was just beautiful, and so normally there's a WIC clinic within a 30-mile radius just because Texas is so large and, transportation is a huge barrier. You'll find a WIC clinic at least 30 minutes in a 30-minute radius.
Is that strategic? They did that strategically?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool.
And if we don't have a permanent site, we have travel clinics that, like, for example, you have Tyler, and then you have Lindale. Mm-hmm. Well, we go to Lindale every Thursday because those moms were having issues traveling into Tyler. So if we see a need or a barrier, we will go to smaller areas and set up temporary sites where they're just sites we go to once a week or twice a week or 3 times a week, twice a month in Alto. So about 30-minute radius is the traveling distance where you should find a WIC clinic.
Good to know.
Mm-hmm.
And then to orient everyone who may not have knowledge about WIC or this may be the first time they've even heard of the term WIC. Could you define and describe how what WIC is, how somebody becomes eligible? Because as an adult and as a kid, you can become eligible. If you can give everybody that explanation.
So WIC stands for Women, Infants, and Children. We are a nutrition and breastfeeding program. We provide nutrition education through our nutritionists that provide one-on-one education. We also provide breastfeeding support through our breastfeeding peer counselors that have been moms and that have successfully breastfed their babies, and they go through a very rigorous breastfeeding training offered by Health and Human Services. Most of our nutritionists are degreed, and to be eligible for WIC, you must be a resident in that particular city or town. You must be pregnant, breastfeeding, or just have had an infant within the past 6 months. Fathers bring their children to WIC. A lot of times a father may have custody and he's eligible if he meets our income guidelines, and those are online at texaswic.org. And we have foster parents.
Sure.
We have a lot of foster parents. Some grandparents are guardians,
right.
So they're eligible for the program. And so it is the Women, Infants, and Children's program. So you must be in one of those categories. But as I said, a father can bring their child in and still receive the benefits for that child, or a grandmother or foster parent.
So y'all hear that, guys? Yep. We didn't say that. Tecora said that. Fathers
are welcome.
Come on down.
Yeah.
But there is one element that you just mentioned that was brought up when we had your assistant director, Jenny Lassiter, on a previous episode. One of the takeaways, what you just described, Tecora, triggered this, reminded me of this. So when a woman becomes pregnant, at the moment of conception, she is technically WIC eligible.
Yes.
Because she is carrying another life. Mm-hmm. So I want to make sure I emphasize, iterate, and reiterate that because you said that you were a former WIC client, mm-hmm. and as am I. I'm a former WIC client of our youngest child, who's now 18, and then our oldest child, who is 29, of going through, seeing the process, eating the meal and then seeing the recipes mm-hmm. of how the meal is made. But the important aspect of that I want to make sure I hit on, ladies, the moment that you become pregnant.
Yes.
Like, you take the pregnancy test.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes back positive,
Call
find your nearest WIC clinic.
Yes.
Guys, when you're in the room or when you learn that your significant other has become pregnant.
When you get that text. No. When you get that call.
However you get the news.
However it gets broken.
Guys, however you get the news, this is, you just become a father. That's the moment you need to make sure you're in that proper mindset to mm-hmm. be a support resource for your significant other, because it's better that it's not a solo ride.
Yes, it is.
I think that's a good summary statement to put. Mm-hmm. where having that structure already in place, even before that child arrives, and going through the WIC experience puts I can't think of the right word. It's like it encapsulates. It sets up the child for future success.
It does.
Having both parents in place mm-hmm. as the child matures.
There are studies that show if dad is present,
just his presence.
You just have to be present. Mm-hmm. Mom's health is improved because he's that access to transportation to get to her prenatal appointments. He's that support person when they're talking at the doctor's office. He's hearing things and he's able to remind her, hey, they told you to drink, water throughout the day. You really should. He's that advocate for her health. Mm-hmm. Hey, she doesn't want that. She asked for a natural. Just a minute. Let me talk to her. He's that voice. Sometimes mom, normally, sometimes she doesn't have a voice. She doesn't feel she has a voice. She's not comfortable, but he becomes that voice.
And to be the head, not the tail.
Be the head. And he becomes that voice, that support person. And so it's so important when studies show that children perform way better in school when dad is there. But when it relates to birth outcomes, it is so important dad is there. Dad is there so that they make a decision how they're going to feed their baby. Mm-hmm. Are we breastfeeding? Are we formula feeding? If we breastfeed, what does that mean for my infant? And once dad is supportive, a lot of our moms actually, are successful and meet their breastfeeding mm-hmm. goals because dad is supporting her. My son, when he discovered that his girlfriend was pregnant, he was so excited. I had taught him everything about breastfeeding. He was in the delivery room. Don't forget we're breastfeeding. She's like, okay, I'm trying to push. But yeah, I remember we're breastfeeding. And then after the baby was here, he was helping get the baby to the breast. When we got home, he was washing and putting the breast pump together, drying the parts. He would go get her water because she would have to stay hydrated. When you're breastfeeding, it's important that you're hydrated, just hands-on. But it was great that she had that support person, making sure we knew what we were going to eat for the day and taking the baby so she could just get a little rest, because rest really plays a role in healing of the body. And we rarely get enough rest. But if dad is there, he could take a shift so she could get some rest and she take a shift. So it's a team effort. And I love in WIC now, we have our peer dad program. I love it. Dads see a guy that they can relate to. So if it's scary, if there's some uncertainties and questions, they have someone to ask those questions to. And I love that we have that inclusion of fathers now in our clinics. Now we have pictures of fathers playing with their children at the dinner table with their children, doing skin to skin. That's so important when baby arrives, that dad is placing baby on his bare skin so baby can learn his scent, his voice, his touch. And normally you see babies just really calm down when they hear their dad or he's holding them. And that's just so important just from birth. But it's important, while baby is in the womb, that dad is reading to baby. And I said, if dads only knew how important they were to our society, to our community, to the health of it's just, they're so important. But sometimes they don't hear it enough, their value, their worth. And so we're trying to do a little bit better at that. Like today, we had a mom session. One of our moms came in for an education session. We were like, you can bring dad. I can bring my husband. Absolutely. Dad came, our peer dad came. They were laughing, kind of having the best time. And now this is an education session, but they're having the most wonderful time. And he enrolled in services. So I just think that inclusiveness is missing in all of our services for fathers, and welcoming them. Invite them to appointments. Invite them to be part of the experience. Don't just make the appointment for mom. Make the appointment for the family, Right. And so it's seeing it from a different lens. And I love that we quickly got on that, train ride for that father inclusion concept. So, and it's going so well. Now dads don't sit in the car.
Right.
They come in the building.
That's great.
Because they actually see themselves in WIC and see other men, and they're kind of shocked, because they're like, oh, you have a man working here? Absolutely. We may be the Women, Infants, and Children program, but we do enjoy, having that father be part of that experience.
Well, we kind of teased, wise investment in children, WIC. So it's like it's a little bit more. It's like we were talking about having an inclusive language to include the dad. Yes. It's like a wise investment in children. But back to what you were saying, it's almost like it was part of the design or something. It's like if it takes both of them to create the child, like, yeah, why wouldn't you need both of them there? It's almost like it was like you need the father and the mother.
It's part of the plan.
Yeah. So, but I think that's awesome. That you are at least getting. Like you said, we got. The peer dad program and kind of breaking down that stigma, of like getting fathers in the clinic, investing in your children. It's like you said, obviously studies show that even just having the father present, it's a whole other thing of if that father's actually doing his due diligence of being a good father, but having fathers who are willing to invest into their children, whether that be time or, financial resources, fill in the blank,
But also being open to our dads go through things also. There is a real thing as, fathers having postpartum depression, because that's a lot to navigate. I'm working, I'm taking care of mom, I'm still trying to be a provider, but I'm trying to make sure baby is cared for. I'm up at night, but I'm going to work in the morning, and they do experience that. And so I'm so proud of our fathers that they're honest. Hey, I'm not feeling well. This is a lot.
Yeah, this is a lot.
There's a
A lot
lot
of pressure.
Yeah.
You got to talk about
I need some
it.
downtime.
I need let me go play ball with the boys or the guys, but it's a lot when and so I love that now we bring light to that, and we're asking those questions. How are you feeling? Are you good, man? Are you I love that we have a man, a guy in our program that can just ask, hey, I'm going to ask you a really important question. Are you good? Because if you're not good, the whole house is not good. The mom's not good, because we need you to be good so that you can be a great support person. And looking at mental health challenges. So we go to a lot of, continuing education on how to support fathers so they can be a support person for our moms, but realizing they also have needs. So a lot of times we're linking them to temporary services for employment, workforce commission, just doing things so that we can help them be their best self, and then it pours into and trickles into the home, but we often don't have programs for fathers. We don't have services for fathers. And so that's why I said sometimes they don't feel as valued as they should because our society places them in a certain position of being the provider. And, it can be a lot for them also, just like it's a lot for the mom.
Sure.
So, yeah.
So you just touched on this a bit of current community collaborations where you talked about the Workforce Commission and with our Peer Dad program, with our Dream program, with our Healthy Me, Healthy Babies Coalition. Could you highlight some current partnerships and even if you have any future partnerships of how you and your staff are enhancing WIC's services? How are you and your department utilizing other community resources to benefit our clients?
I'm so excited about this question. Love, collective impact. I just love that concept of, it doesn't take one, it takes many. If we want to solve a situation issue, it's going to take more than just one person and one program. And so when we learned of the infant mortality rates and the maternal morbidity rates and the death rates of our moms after birth, there's something about that 42nd day, and that's normally that postpartum time where, mom is having some changes in health, which results to death or an infant not living to the first birthday. And the number one cause is sudden infant death. And so it's been great to start looking at things from a different perspective where it's not about WIC solving our infant mortality and maternal morbidity crisis and issues in Smith County and surrounding rural community. It's us, which I love the collaboration of the work that we're doing. So with our, now in WIC, we have partnered with DSHS for a high-risk maternal care coordination program. We call it DREAM, and it's delivering resources and empowering all mothers. And so in this work, we're screening moms that may have hypertension, diabetes, that may have a substance abuse. It may be a mom that her previous pregnancies were stillborn or she had a history of preterm babies. And what we're doing is we're screening for those, what they call social determinants of health and identifying what those needs are. We create this care plan where we set short-term, long-term goals with moms and kind of look at wraparound services. But these resources come from our partnership and collaboration with the Healthy Me, Healthy Babies Coalition, that their overall mission is to have healthy moms, healthy babies, healthy families, and they want healthy communities. So for the DREAM program, what we've done is we've partnered with the Nurse Family Partnership Program to enroll these high-risk moms, but also with Wellness of Tyler. And they're doing our childbirth education classes for free. Wow. For free. This is normally an expense to moms, but we're offering it for free at our WIC administrative office, but we partner with the local midwife to offer these classes. Also, since we know SIDS is one of the leading causes of death, we partner with our regional office here through DSHS to offer safe sleep education classes. And mom and dads both come. Dads love it. They're like, what? You know?
You already got the dads because of the word sleep in there.
Sleep.
Like, I can come. I can take a nap during the class. Like, no, guys, it's not a wrong class. But if they get some in.
So dads come, and for those that don't have cribs, because everyone doesn't get a wish list and a baby shower,
right.
and
you got the baby registry.
Yeah, they don't get that. So we actually provide pack and plays. So if they are traveling and they're going to grandma or uncle or auntie that's keeping the baby, they have a safe space to place the baby. One of the leading causes, of death for our infants is that we fall asleep with them on the couch. And then they roll over into the cushions and they suffocate. Or we allow them to sleep with us and we roll over on them. Or, so baby has to have a separate sleeping space. Baby can be near or next to the bed, but separate. And so just doing that education and learning what a sterile sleeping environment is. It's no pillows, no blankets, no toys, no bedding, nothing.
Yep.
Don't put nothing in that crib. And then we talk about baby behavior. Why does baby cry? And that really reduces child abuse. So hey, once you change their diaper, you feed them, you comfort them, they may be sleepy. How about identifying if they're overstimulated? So before you get upset, because the crying will drive you crazy, just go lay them in the crib and walk away. That prevents that shaking baby syndrome. Because you're tired, you're like, be quiet, and the shaking can get a little hard and cause damage. We teach, just go lay them in the crib and walk away. They're safe. That's the safest thing for your infant. We teach skin to skin and why it's important you don't smoke during pregnancy, how it does contribute to low preterm birth. And so it's been great partnering with the community to offer that. But we also offer car seat safety education for our families. And after the course, they receive a car seat. They receive an appointment, teach them how to install and put the car in the vehicle. And it's just we're doing some work where, like, we partner with the food bank and we partner with Children's Defense Fund because a lot of our families don't have insurance or any food in the home. So they help us with that enrollment. A lot of families have questions about housing. And my infant came home and I have no clothes. So we have a local resource, Axia, that helps us with that. It's so important, that collaboration.
Sure.
Who do you call? And what it does, it takes all of our resources and we put all our resources together to cause change and impact. Remember, one person, I don't have the funding or the ability to offer car seats, but this program does.
Right.
So how about we come together and we create those wraparound services for the families so therefore their needs are met. And one program doesn't have to carry the burden. Because there was a time where I thought, oh my goodness, I have to figure out, why are my moms dying? Why are my babies not living? And then I joined the Healthy Me, Healthy Babies Coalition. And all of a sudden, it wasn't my, cross to bear. It was all of ours. And to watch us come together and put our resources together. If we have a mom that's struggling with her child and he's constantly getting kicked out of daycare, we bring in champions for children. Or mom is struggling with parenting, we do home visiting service, parents as teachers. If we have some moms that may have non-medical needs but need mental health, we turn that Healthy Start. So it's just having them, like us, working as one collaborative where we're taking care of all of our moms. From WIC moms to Nurse Family Partnership, Healthy Start, parents. We make sure whatever resource we have, we put them all on the table and we utilize them.
And I think you're touching on a topic that we've talked about. I know in the public health realm, it can be frustrating for like competing programs who, they're reinventing the wheel over and over and over, and it's just like it's a lot of overlap. And this is a topic that we've talked about and we've teased out a handful of times. It's like being able to utilize things that are already existing, and that you don't have to recreate another program. That oftentimes just it creates kind of a competitive nature. It's like we have a program that Family Circle of Care has, and it's like there's just a lot of people doing the same thing. And not to say that that's a bad thing, but a lot of times, like you said, maybe just being able to put our pride away and be like, you know what, we can direct you to somebody else who has this system in place, who already knows how to handle this, instead of us trying to recreate something completely new and fresh. It could, and like you said, it facilitates that collaborative, within the community. It's just
because the bottom line, how is it going to benefit the family to get them the access to the services they need in the most efficient way?
Yeah, efficiency is important.
Whether it's from Net Health, whether it's from any of the agencies that you just mentioned that y'all collaborate with, there's like the term cannot be oversaid. It takes a village.
It takes a village.
But there's one concept of that you just mentioned, of how you said that, I don't know if you're talking just you in particular or you as in our Net Health WIC department, where you don't have to do it alone, where you partner with other community agencies to help do the work. I want to parallel that to everybody that's listening, whether you're a current parent, whether you're an expectant parent, or even if you're not a parent right now, you may become a parent in the future, that you don't have to go through parenthood alone.
You do not.
There are a plethora of available resources that are available to you. You don't have to seek them out on your own. That's where Tecora comes in. That's where our WIC clinics across Northeast Texas come in. We are a support system. We are ready and available to connect you to the resources that you need. You don't have to do it on your own. We may be your village.
Yeah.
Your family is going to be part of that village, or the community organization is going to be part of that village. And then what y'all just heard, y'all can get the hookup. You just talk about Corey getting car seats and pack and plays, breast pumps. We hadn't really talked about this yet on the Dad's Huddle with the Pure Dad program. Guys, y'all can eat for free once a month. If that doesn't sell y'all, I don't know what else will. But there's all, and then this is all free.
All free. All free.
We as Net Health, we as the WIC department, y'all are putting in the work to make sure we have all of these items available for parents, families to receive these free resources.
I mean, you don't have to go through motherhood alone. You don't have to go through fatherhood alone. It's all right to be like this amazing father, and everyone's like, oh my goodness, he is such a great dad. But know that you have that mentor, that coach, that buddy, that's, that sounding ear.
That guy, that wise chief in your community.
Yeah, that's guiding you. That's, that's part of really one way to be successful is having that person there to, as to coach you and have a mentor, have someone, even if you don't want to look at them like that, but just have that guy that you can just kind of, we use this phrase, chop it up with, kind of just go back and forth about thoughts. And, the biggest thing we get is communication. Even when, we're not in agreement, we ask them also to call us because we want families to stay together. And a lot of times through our fatherhood program, we do an understanding fatherhood, but we also have this curriculum where we talk about co-parenting and communicating with one another. We're not going to always agree. We have to learn how do we meet in the middle and how to respect, what we're wanting and how we're wanting to raise our children. Right. You may be the disciplinary where, your wife may be the one that, that's not the role she wants. You may go do all the shopping and that's not her thing. Well, you do the shopping, You may be the person overseeing the finances, but that's not her strength. Oversee find where your strengths can come in together. And when you disagree, learn and be reminded that we're in this. We're here together. We love one another. We're going to stay a family, raise our child, and we don't talk about that a lot because relationships are hard. Relationships have challenges, and we're really striving to keep mom and dad together for the sake of that child. So we do have, resources for therapy. Can we just talk about it? Can we kind of navigate through what's going on? Because a lot of times it helps to hear from another perspective, but it's also nice to hear, hey, stay together. Let's talk through this. Like, what was this argument about again? Can we not, teaching them we don't go to bed angry. We don't go to bed mad. You need to.
That's when you have nightmares. I don't know if that's true, y'all, or not. But
I don't know.
It's better not. Yeah,
you don't go to bed angry.
Squash it before you go to sleep.
What does you don't sleep on the couch? It's teaching those family values that I think we don't talk about anymore. And so I love with our fatherhood program, it creates that space for fathers. I love that Dream and WIC and all these other mother programs create space for mothers, just a community, that we lost during the pandemic, creating that community for our moms and for our fathers and for families. That's why we invite dads to classes. We invite them, but grandmothers come, mothers come, just being inclusive of the family. And I'm going to tell you, I did feel the burden of having to address maternal morbidity and infant mortality. And I was taught early that our moms they were my responsibility as the WIC director. And, I wouldn't partner at first. So let me be transparent. I thought, oh no, I'm going to protect my moms. I don't want everyone, I don't want moms to be overwhelmed because they have this program, that program. And I learned that I was doing moms a disservice. I was causing the barrier. I was preventing them from thriving and having access. And so I think, that's why as a leader, I'm a very intentional leader, but I'm also the type of leader that I'm okay with self-evaluating. I'm okay with failing, but learning from those failures and
you have
growing.
to be as a leader. You have to be.
You have to grow from that. And it's okay that I say, that was a mistake as a young WIC director. I was like, nope, don't come near my moms. They already overwhelmed. I don't need a lot of people, offering them a lot of things. And then when, I think it was 2014, March of Dimes came to me. And, I'm sitting in my office. I'm thinking I'm like the best WIC director in the world. I'm thinking I'm just doing the great things in our community. And they tell me that my moms and babies aren't living. I thought, whoa, what do you mean? And that's when they taught me through this coalition the impact of collaboration and being in collaborative work, collective impact. And I started learning and that's where I was comfortable letting down my walls and allowing other programs to come in and provide resources to our moms. And so that was like an awakening for me as a leader. Like I said, I'm okay failing. It's when it's those hard failures that I'm like, oh no, I can't believe they're not living. And so it was hard as a leader, but then I learned from that and I got back up. We started this coalition and it's been in place since 2015. And it's thriving, going on 10 years, and we're just determined to decrease and eliminate maternal morbidity and infant mortality. But in the meantime, we have to continue to look at partnerships and additional services needed at Net Health through the WIC program, Peer Dad, Dream. I'm so excited that the Center for Healthy Living is now going to be looking at diabetes and hypertension education for our high-risk pregnant moms through our Dream program. and me learning how pivotal that is for us. And I have a sense of peace allowing others to come in and be part of our mission, to have healthy moms and babies, and, which results in healthy families. I love leadership. I love intentional leaders,
And I think it's okay
I love leaders.
That you talk about kind of like that mother hen mentality, shepherding your flock. It's like, I don't want no wolves getting in here. You know what I mean? But at the same time, obviously that can go too far where you're actually harming, like you said, being able to let the sheep go out a little bit, let them go out into see, what else is out there. But I think that's so important to be able to, like you said, in a role of leadership, be able to fall on your sword, and learn from that too. I think that's amazing. It's amazing quality to have, and I'm glad that we do have it in our WIC director. It's a quality that our WIC director does have, because that's so important.
I tell leaders, be okay with failing.
Sure.
At one point, it would stress me out. I was like, I'm a failure, get all depressed, and then I reminded myself, I just like I give grace to others and show forgiveness, I give myself grace. And I'm like, you okay. Just, some mornings I come in, I'm like, oh my goodness, I just ain't done nothing right today. And I'm like, okay, I'll just start over tomorrow. And then the next day, I come in, I get a good night's rest, kind of think through things, and I start over. And today it's going to be a good day.
His mercies are new every morning.
A new day. And so just those are things, even as parents, don't be so hard on yourself. There's, just learn from other parents. That's why we create this opportunity to, bring dads together and bring moms together. Learn from one another. Learn from a seasoned mom. How did she handle potty training? How did she handle her picky eater? And, learning from one another. And I love that concept. And as leaders, we should also practice that,
Certainly.
Yeah.
So, Tecora, it seems like your children and grandchildren are just golden. Having like, if I was your son, or if I was your grandson, it was like my grandma is the WIC director. Like, kind of invisible glitter would fall over having that. Having you as an internal resource in your family. But what you just mentioned, there are two words that you said that I'm assuming not everybody may know what these words are when you talk about our morbidity rate and our mortality rate. So like what Thomas is doing, I'm using the power of the internet.
Okay.
So the definition of how it is given, morbidity is the number of people who have an illness or have a disease within a population. So when Tecora talks about the morbidity rate, it's how many, were you saying the morbidity rate of mothers?
Yes.
We, as in East Texas, do we have a relatively stable, low morbidity rate compared to the rest of the state? Or do we have a relatively higher morbidity rate, or we have more moms in East Texas that have health conditions as compared to moms across Texas?
Ours are higher. We do have higher. Our African American and our Black and brown moms are 3 or 4 times more likely to die from childbirth. Complications postpartum, and so we're looking into the why and, how can we eliminate that and support our moms a little better in access to resources and finding their voice to advocate for themselves. And same thing with infant mortality rates. We see the same thing.
I was also going to mention that the definition for mortality is the number of deaths that occur. So morbidity is those that are living that have one or more diseases. But mortality is like that's it. they have passed. They're no longer here. So you're addressing the infant mortality rate and the maternal mortality rate.
But if we, let me use the word we, if we can address the maternal, we can educate and support mom. Because, we attended this Healthier Texas Summit, and, in that first opening session, he taught us it starts with the fetus in the mom's womb. Whether, there's going to be complications of diabetes at a later age for a child, or, of course you have the family genetics, okay. But there's still some things we could be doing with mom that would transition into that infant's life, as far as healthy food choices, how to shop, at a grocery store. Stay on the outside. If you're going in the inside, be very wise in what you're selecting, and going to appointments so that she takes that child to their appointment. And if we're talking about safe sleeping during perinatal, during pregnancy, that's going to carry over to infancy and child. There's some things that can happen during pregnancy while the fetus is still yet protected, that those behaviors can be changed over. And when baby is born, same thing with mom. Those same behavior changes can occur during pregnancy that she could carry over into postpartum that could possibly prevent her from, dying. And so we do a lot of Hear Her campaign education with providers, with fathers, because normally the father is who's advocating, or whoever that partner or support person is. And we teach them the warning signs during pregnancy and who to call and what to do. And so we're working on this really cool emergency response plan for our fathers, so they have it. Who do you call? What do you do? Where do you go? Just so they have a roadmap to what they're supposed to be doing. So I just believe our change starts with us seeing the need. And at the conference, he just said, we may not solve this in our lifetime.
Sure.
But by golly, we better get started so that we leave our generations something, and so, because it could move down into our generation. So I do teach my grandbabies healthy snacking items, and they do yoga. They do it while they don't have any clothes on, so therefore I can't take pictures of them and share it. But they do yoga at night, so they sleep, and they have good sleeping habits. And they'll tell you at the restaurant, excuse me, waitress, we will have water. We'll have water. She's like, you don't want anything? No, we'll have water. Oh, we'll have orange slices with our cheese pizza. They understand. That is a taught. That's a behavior that's taught.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah, your kids don't just wake up thinking that way on their own.
I'll have salad with ranch. The waitress don't know what to think of them. But it's just, that's a taught behavior. And, sitting together to eat as a family. That's a taught, it's so important. It teaches them how to wait and have conversations, and then they get full and know, they're full so they don't overeat. And, family style eating is important, but we go sit at the, in front of the television and we kind of just eat, So just kind of getting back to those things that we know are effective. And so I just think it's important that, that's taught. So they do have their granny as a WIC, they call me Granny, as a WIC director. And so, yeah, that affords them some really great things.
So how long have you been a Net Health employee?
Okay. 20 years.
20 years.
20 years, yep.
So to put you on the spot, how do you envision WIC evolving over the next 20 years? Like, do you have a vision of how you would want Net Health's WIC program to evolve over the 20 years? So this is going to be kind of a two-part question. So that's one part of it, how you foresee Net Health's WIC program evolving. And then from the state and national level, how do you see that evolving over the next 20 years? Are there things coming down their pipeline that's going to have an impact on our WIC operation in East Texas?
So in the next 20 years, I would love to see us growing in every county where there's a permanent WIC facility, but that also we offer Dream, Peer Dad, all of those services, that we have those coalitions.
Counties.
Yes. I would love to see that. I would love if we had a mobile unit that could go with a physician and a nurse or a midwife to do sonograms and do, at least if they can't get to a doctor, at least they can go on this mobile unit to receive prenatal care. Because some moms don't receive prenatal care. Some show up in our ER and they're ready to deliver. That would really decrease those disparities and lack of access to resources and those OB desert areas with no hospitals. I would love to see Net Health go in that direction where all of the services are available to all of our families in all 20 counties. For the state, we are looking in 2026 to change our food package. It'll be more culturally sensitive. Options for if families desire just not to get the juice but buy more fruits and vegetables, they have that option. Looking at more options of like almond milk. A lot of families, they have children have milk allergies, but we don't offer enough of those options. And so they listened to our community, to our physicians, to our pediatricians, and they're changing our food package. Yay, WIC! Yeah. That's huge.
I'm laughing because the way it was like the Muppet Show. Remember how Kermit would say, "Yeah, you celebrated." That's what it reminded me of when you did that.
We're so ready.
But then I'm also laughing, flashing back as a WIC dad.
Yes.
I don't want to say it as though, like, once you're a WIC dad, you're always a WIC dad.
Yeah.
But me flashing back to, it was peanut butter, cheese, dried beans, canned beans, eggs. There are many, many other foods that are available if you're a WIC client now. Y'all got it good now. Y'all don't realize back in
yogurt.
Yeah, yogurt's eligible now.
The menu has been expanded.
Yeah.
Fresh fruits and vegetables.
You have like a 3, 4, 5 page menu, and back in it was just one page.
So you get what you get.
Well, it was half a page because going to the clinic, I remember everything was pencil and paper. It wasn't electronic.
Nope.
Now
they have an EBT card.
So this was mid 2000s. Yeah, things have changed, y'all.
Now they just go stick their card in the machine.
WIC has an app.
We have an app.
You got your website.
Yep.
So going back to what I mentioned before, you can email us, castingthenet@netphd.org. You can find your nearest WIC clinic by going to texaswic.org. You can also go to our website, mynethealth.org. Go to our WIC pages, and there's an actual page that pulls up a map that shows you where every single WIC clinic is located. But going back to the food beverage aspect of the cultural sensitivity that you had mentioned, the variety of foods that are now WIC eligible, could you name a couple of items that a person may not think is WIC eligible but is WIC eligible? Because you had mentioned yogurt. I remember when Jenny Lassiter was here, tofu is now on the list. Is it tempeh is eligible now?
Yes.
Like there's many proteins.
Wait, what's tempeh?
Don't look at me. You have to ask our WIC director.
It's an alternate for those that are vegan. Like, it's just an alternate type of. It's like tofu.
Is it a protein? Is it a protein?
Yes, it's a protein.
It's similar to tofu.
Tofu, yes.
But they come in longer strands. Mm-hmm. It has the same consistency as tofu. I mean, it may be a little bit firmer than tofu.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But it takes on the flavor of what you cook with it, like tofu does.
Yes. But yeah, and I'm super excited about telehealth. Staff are a little nervous because we're not accustomed to telehealth, but we're so excited. Once we have that online platform, it will reduce barriers to service. I was talking to Thomas about, we will be able to push a button. If a mom is like, I'm at home, I'm not well, push a button, and we'll load their benefits onto their card. So that's coming also in 2026.
So WIC is going FaceTime now, is what you're saying.
Yep. Well, we'll be able to do telehealth and
you can visually see. So a client can be in the comfort of their home.
Yes.
And they can interact with our WIC staff.
Yes. As
if they're talking to somebody on FaceTime.
Yes.
Or TikTok or Facebook so that it's another thing I'm jealous about. Y'all didn't have that in 2006,
no, we
2007, 2008, 2009. Y'all didn't have the Pure Dad program back in the early 2000s, mid-2000s.
That was likely birthed post-COVID for, people being able to...
Telehealth.
Was that something that was spoken of before COVID even happened, or was that mostly because of COVID? They were like, hey, this is something that we can kind of transition into.
No, it's because of COVID.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I appreciate at least that from COVID. It opened our eyes to virtual options, which has been so important for our families. I don't have to pay you $10, $20 to come to the office. I can actually, now those that love that interaction and great, but those that can't afford it or, because they're in between blessings or paychecks, it would be nice to do the telehealth visit and do their education and then load it just electronically and it's on their card. So someone else could probably go shopping for mom while she's convalescent, while she's in the, at home after delivery. So, yeah, I love that.
So a mom can go either to texaswic.org or mynahealth.org. She can enroll.
Yes.
Or the guardian, the parent, the caregiver, the woman that's just learned that she's become a mom.
Yes.
You can sign up through your phone. Does a client have to come to one of our WIC clinics to start receiving services, or can they do everything WIC related through their phone?
They can do it through the app.
They can do it through the app.
They can do pretty much everything through the app. The only thing, in order to load the benefits, they would need to come to the clinic. We're not online. We're not on the online platform that allows us to load it virtually yet. That'll be another couple of years. But, yeah, pretty much do everything on the app. The app will scan foods at the grocery store so they know whether or not it's WIC eligible. They can make an appointment online through the app and reschedule according to their schedule, do all of that on the app. It shows them their shopping list, what foods are available on the app. The app is become like our sweet blessing because it's helped a lot.
So does this app also do their taxes?
No, it don't do taxes, but it has recipes.
Doesn't reconcile the checkbook?
Nope.
I'm showing my age.
Nope.
Still, for those of you that still write checks.
I still write checks. I write one check a month for my mortgage. But I do one check, yeah.
But all that's to say, there is not a reason why somebody cannot get connected to WIC.
Yeah.
Is that a fair statement?
That's a fair statement.
For those that are eligible.
Right. Those that are eligible and those that aren't, we make sure they have those needed resources when they leave us. Yeah. We don't send them away empty-handed. Whether it's, we find they need housing or a referral for medical care, food, we send them away with the resources needed. Yeah. So I love that about WIC.
Are there any community partnerships that you're working on here in East Texas that they hadn't been established yet, but they're going back to that question, how you see WIC evolving, let's say over the next 5 years? Maybe not so long, right? Like in the next 2 years, next 3 years, next 5 years, are things that you and your staff are working on behind the scenes to get ready to roll out? On top of everything that you just mentioned that y'all are doing now.
Well, we're hoping to build centering pregnancy programs for our moms where a mom will come to sessions with moms that are the same weeks they are. And they can share their experiences. I'm 24 weeks. Oh, I'm 25 weeks. And, they talk about some things they're seeing, ask questions. And it would be nice to have a centering pregnancy program in each of our counties for our moms, because that's another.
Have that peer support.
Mm-hmm. I would love to have that. That's one of the things we're working on right now, just trying to develop that, because it's going to take us about a year or two to get that developed. But taking this dream model and replicating it throughout the state.
Because what you said, y'all are piloting this. Like y'all are.
Yes.
Y'all are the guinea pigs.
We are.
For other WIC departments, other agencies across the state, or is it for other health departments across the state to adopt the dream model, or is it
for other
what types of companies in other parts of the state? Since y'all are building it as you go,
right?
When it gets to a final product, which companies will be asked to replicate the dream program?
It could be wherever there's high infant mortality and maternal morbidity rates. It could be Dallas, Parkland. It could be a local health department, Tarrant County Health Department. It could be Corpus Christi, their health department. I mean, it's wherever the state sees that.
Wherever the stats show.
Where the stats lead us, that's where we would replicate this program. So that's what we're excited about, being able to replicate it with this year's our first year with the inclusion of fathers into DREAM, into high-risk maternal care. And we're super excited this year with our Care Coordination Network, where we're going to bring together key organizations that we're going to come to the table and just say, hey, how do we coordinate this care for moms and dads and use the resources that we have to do so? And we're super excited about that. So we're building a care coordination network for our community. But I think that's the biggest thing I'm excited about, is that we're building the model for the state of Texas.
That was a lot, Tecora.
Yeah.
And that's just the first hour, y'all. No, I'm just kidding. But all that's to say, there's these podcasts build upon each other. So how we had Jenny in the previous episode, and we have you this episode, we've had this with our environmental health department, or we want to have different employees from each department, because we can't cover everything in one episode.
Yes.
Which, is a good thing.
Right.
Knowing that each department provides so many different public health services that we literally physically don't have enough time. We have to spread it out across multiple episodes. But it's also good because it builds a little bit of anticipation, because we want to invite you and Jenny and whoever else you may want to appoint or assign or volunteer or volunteer as a leader. You can volunteer people, you can volunteer people to do stuff. Because there are other facets of WIC services that are available in Northeast Texas that we didn't get to in this episode.
Yeah.
So, like I mentioned before, casting the net at netphd.org. Any type of question that may have popped on your mind, we want to hear from you. So whether Thomas or I answers that question for you, or we ask Ms. Tecora to answer that question for you, or Tecora may get you connected with one of our staff in one of our 20 East Texas clinics to answer that question for you. Also, if you know of anybody that we've just discussed that is eligible to enroll into WIC, so this goes back to if as soon as a woman becomes pregnant, she is WIC eligible. If you are a parent of a child under the age of 5, you're eligible. You can get connected with your nearest WIC clinic by going to texaswic.org, or you can go to mynethealth.org, or you can call our NetHealth WIC admin office, 903-593-8331. Y'all, I've had the number memorized since 2005. Or you can just Google search on your phone to find the phone number, Facebook page for your nearest WIC clinic. We are prepared and ready to help you. We just want you to get connected to us.
Yeah.
Would you have any final words, Tecora, of anything that, whether you covered it or you didn't cover it earlier, that you may want the community to know about WIC, that you want to make sure it gets emphasized?
Just we are the nutrition experts, and so we would love for families to trust us to help them grow some amazing children, and be part of their pregnancy journey. And, fathers, allow us to be part of your fatherhood journey. We would love, to be that support person. And sometimes we bring in others to create that sense of safety net for families, and that they do not have to do it alone. No one should have to do it alone. And it doesn't always have to be with motherhood, fatherhood. It could be with anything. You have questions about certain things. If we don't know it, we'll find the answer, like Thomas said earlier. But, it's just hard to ask people, to eat healthy, but they don't have the tools and the resources, the food to eat healthy with. It's hard to ask people to be physically active and they don't have access to, gyms or sidewalks or playgrounds. And, it's just us remembering as community leaders to constantly ask the why. Like, why don't they, why is their blood sugars not normal or going down? Why don't they have food? Why is it that their food can't be baked? There's questions. They don't have an oven. They don't have transportation. Keep asking. Be inquisitive. Ask the right questions. And if you don't know what the right ones are, just ask the questions so that we can be that help and support for families. Don't stop asking, because then that's where, they just fall through the cracks. So we don't want any gaps in services. So keep asking the questions of why. Yeah. But I want to leave us with that.
Well, we thank you for your time. Thank you for your wisdom, for sharing your experiences as a 20-year NetHealth employee.
Yes.
And with that, y'all, we'll catch you on the next episode of Casting the Net.
Thanks again, Tecora.
Thank you.